Hi friends, starting with the 17 Jan editorial. The first editorial is Vagaries of the Job Market. This editorial basically speaks about the global phenomenon of the jobless growth. So, according to the report brought out by the International Labour Organization, which is called World Employment and Social Outlook Report, so the International Labour Organization brings out a report called World Employment and Social Outlook Report. This is important for PT. So, this report speaks about the increase in the jobless growth, and also the present global scenario is such that the global GDP is to the 6-year low, and so therefore due to the increase in the jobless growth, the more concerned or the more vulnerable people are. So the more vulnerable people are those who are self-employed, because see, when there are not enough job created to accommodate the people, therefore people go for the self-employment. But these are more vulnerable because see, they don't have the strong welfare legislation and enforcement. So this people, the self-employed ones, they lack the access to the social protection scheme. So there's not much social protection given to them as compared to the salaried class. So the salaried class has better social protection compared to those who are self-employed. And this condition is more prevalent in the sub-Saharan African and the South Asian countries. So, therefore the self-employed ones come under the vulnerable or volatile working conditions, and the trend observed is that there is slow decrease in the number of people under the vulnerable or volatile working condition. Since the number of people under this volatile working conditions are decreasing slowly, therefore as a result, the number of people who are under volatile working condition are increasing, from one year to another due to increase in the population. So as the population increases, the number of people under volatile working condition also increases, right? And another impact of large number of people under volatile working condition is that there is slowdown in the reducing incidence of working poverty. So the number of people who are under poverty due to the lack of work, due to the lack of work, is still in large numbers. So basically we can draw two things from this, that is, there are still, the people who are under volatile working condition are still increasing, and there are large number of people who are under the working poverty. Now, looking at the positive impact of the globalization, the positive impact of globalization, that it has led to increase in the income levels of the lowest rung of the population. So which means that people in the lowest levels of the income are seeing the increase in the levels of income due to the globalization. So, because of the increase in the levels of the income, the globalization has obtained the social and political legitimacy. That is, it has approved by the people and also the political masters. Otherwise, if you come to the negative drawbacks of the globalization, or maybe there might be a few negative drawbacks. One is regarding the economic dislocation. It might be the economic benefits or the economic gains can be shifted from one country to the another country, and also due to the shift in this economic gains, there might be an mass migration. So it's obvious, right? When there's no economic opportunities in one country and it has been shifted to another country, and it's very much normal for people to migrate to that countries where there are more economic opportunities. So basically, what has been saying that we have, so given the positive impact of the globalization that has helped in the raising the income levels of the people in the lowest level of the income group. So given this positive impact of the globalization, that is, which has helped to raise the income levels of the population in the lowest block of the income group, so we have to make sure that we have to use this globalization to our benefit in order to in order to decrease the jobless growth. So we have to use the globalization to decrease the jobless growth, and also we have to ensure social protection schemes to those who are very vulnerable, like the self-employed. So therefore, we are there are two things editorial speaks about. One is the reduction in the jobless growth. Another is the protection or the social protection schemes to those who are self-employed, as these are the more volatile group. Okay. Now, moving on to the next editorial, which is the pragmatist move pivot to India. This editorial speaks about the former Iranian president Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, who expired recently, and about India-Iran relationships during his era. So let's see that. So during the era of the former Iranian president Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, the Indian Prime Minister Narasimha Rao was the first Prime Minister to visit Iran. So as a result, in next year in 1994, the Iran bailed out India in the UN Commission of Human Rights, blocking a consensus on Kashmir. So Iran basically helped India to block a consensus on Kashmir. But later, what we saw in the same year was the rolling back of this favor. Like the present president of the Iran, Mr. Hassan Rouhani, who was then secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, when he visited India, he talked about the persecution of minorities in India on Babri Masjid and India Pak talks, and also about the he also spoke about India Pakistan talks, plus also involving through representatives of Kashmir like the Hurriyat conference. So this created some tensions between India and Iran. But later we saw bettering of ties between India and Iran, basically due to the situation in the situation in the Afghanistan. So, but there was bettering of ties between India and Iran due to situation in Afghanistan, given the Taliban's advance in Afghanistan with the Pakistan support. So, due to this, Iran, moved closer to India. As a result, the Iranian president visited India and he spoke to 10,000 Shias at Lucknow, Bara Imabra, and also he promised $10 million, and he also endorsed the Indian secularism and even praised India's serious will on Kashmir while dismissing the Pakistan's call for American mediation. So therefore we saw the bettering of ties between India and Iran. Also during his presidentship, India and Iran signed the India-Iran-Turkmenistan Transit Agreement. This agreement helped India to avoid the Russian and Ukrainian ports, and plus, the Iran president also urged for Iran-Delhi or Beijing access, which seems very, this might seem like very unrealistic today, but it was not then. But this was another great move by the Iranian president. And then again in 2010 there was again some tensions between India and Iran, because Ayatollah Khamenei, he called the Kashmir as a nation and he compared it to the Gaza Strip. So this again created tensions between India and Iran. After that, there was not much tensions. There are better ties between India and Iran. Now let's see what was the reason. What were the factors that contributed to the change in relationship between India and Iran? Because we have seen the constant up down in India and Iran relationship. Let's see what were the factors that contributed to an Indian-Iran relationship taking us to an upward note. Now let's see what are the factors that contributed to that better relationship between India and Iran. One is the India's economic liberalization and also situation in Afghanistan. So we were involved with economic diplomacy with Iran, which involved connectivity, energy and trade. And then now there was India also made an effort, though it was not always successful, to prevent the relation between the US and Iran from interfering with the one another. So we tried to maintain and we tried to separate the relations between India and Iran and India and US without interfering with one another. Like we tried our best that when US sanctioned against Iran, we tried our best to maintain the India and better relationships with Iran, and also ensure that it does not affect India and US relationship. Though we are not very successful, but still we played our part. So coming to the India and Iran relationship, we spoke about the economic diplomacy. So we all know that we all know that we are working on the Chabahar port, and also recently been an increase in the oil imports from the Iran. Plus there's also been pressure on RBI to allow the Iranian banks to open the branches in India. So therefore better economic ties between India and Iran with not much tension. Now, coming to the relationship between the Afghanistan and Iran, Iran is openly flirting with Taliban. Like, for example, the Taliban leader Mullah Akhtar Mansour, who died when he was returning to Balochistan from Iran. So, Iran has been, allowing the Taliban leaders on on its own soil, and like other Taliban leaders also attended the International Islamic Unity Conference, which was held in Iran. So now, what is needed is an more strict rules regarding the relationship with the Taliban and Iran. So coming to the Iran and the USA, we all know that the significance of the nuclear deal and the reduction in the sanctions against the Iran, and the Boeing and Airbus are they all are queuing up to sell their products to Iran. And but now we have to wait for a while and see how will the US's policy be towards Iran, because the Donald Trump has outrightly rejected the Iran nuclear deal with the Iran. So it's better to wait and watch regarding that. Now, moving on to next editorial, which is serious job losses are taking place. This editorial is about the Amritya Sen's views on the impact of the demonetization. Now, looking into the editorial, so the Amritya Sen says that cash is nothing but a promissory note which played an important role in building up the financial backbone of the industrial Europe. Now, coming to the impact of demonetization. See, the most affected are the informal sector or the poor, because they mainly deal with the cash. Now, given we know that government is pushing for cashless transactions. So, given the shortage of infrastructure, like the underdevelopment of electronic accounts and transaction, and also the slow learning about the cashless transaction among the people, it's the most affected from the impact of demonetization or push for the cashless transactions are the people. So what is needed is the improvement in the infrastructure by the government, and also training of the people regarding the cashless transactions. Now let's take the government's intention behind the demonetization. Now, coming to the government's intention behind the demonetization and its outcome, there is the confusion of purposes regarding the demonetization. So, one of the purpose the government wanted to achieve regarding through demonetization is eliminating black money. Another purpose is to push the India's economy towards the cashless transactions. So, therefore, there is a confusion of purpose in taking through the purposes regarding the demonetization. So if you take the outcome, there's only small contribution of towards the black money from the demonetization. That is like all, because see the amount of black money held in through cash is just less than 10%, and remaining of black money is held in precious metals and assets in the foreign banks. So plus, and also black money dealers are more skilled in overcoming the official barriers. Therefore, if you take the impact of demonetization on bringing out the black money is very less, but coming to the inconvenience cost to the normal people who are not holding any black money is huge. Therefore, the demonetization comes with a huge social cost and only small contribution towards bringing out the black money. But the other impact of the black demonetization is the huge job losses it's causing, and also decreasing the demand in the economy. Plus, given that government is imposing penalties if you're holding the black money, so the Amritya Sen feels that this measure is somewhat ill-suited ill-suited this time, because in the fear of penalties, people might not declare their black money. Now, moving on to the next editorial, which is the post-truth about the Rohit Vermula. Rohit Vermala, who committed suicide in Jan 2016, he was in Ambedkar Students Association activist at the University of Hyderabad. As a young Dalit leader, he had strong political convictions, and he opposed the Hindu right leaders and committed to the Ambedkar anti-caste philosophy and democratic politics. What happened was this: Rohit Vermala and other members were suspended. So as a result, he committed suicide after that. Now, after that, there is a case of atrocities registered against the Vice Chancellor of the University of Hyderabad under the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act. Now, let's look at the various definitions. Now, coming to what is economic boycott. So, economic boycott is nothing but refusal to deal with the other person, to deny the opportunities, including access to service, and to refuse to do anything on the terms on which the things would be commonly done in the ordinary course. So, economic boycott is that you're nothing but you're refusing to deal with a person, like in terms of maybe cash transactions or other things, and also you are denying the opportunities to person, including the access to service. If you're preventing the person from accessing the services like the education, shops, other places, etc., then that is called as an economic boycott. Now, coming to social boycott is it includes the acts against a person to isolate him from others. So, if you are isolating the person from the others, so this act is called as a social boycott. And who is a victim? Victim is an individual belonging to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe category and has suffered he has suffered not only the physical discrimination or the physical harm, but also the mental harm, psychological harm, the emotional harm, and also the monetary harm. So the harm not only includes the physical, but it includes the mental, psychological, emotional, and monetary harm too. And not only to a person, but also to his relatives, guardians, etc. Now, combining the above definitions, let's see what is atrocity. Atrocity includes only three things importantly. One is this, if you, when I, so when a person not belonging to the scheduled caste, so a normal person who is not belonging to a scheduled caste create enmity or hatred on the members of the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, not only through the words which are spoken or written, but also through and sign language. So if you're also using the sign language to create the enmity on the members of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, then that is called as an atrocity. And other thing is, if you prevent a person or obstruct a person from accessing these services, so that also comes under this comes under the atrocity. So it's nothing but the preventing or obstructing a person from accessing to the services like the educational institution, shop, or any place of public entertainment. So that that is called as an act of atrocity. Then other thing, it is the impose or threaten to impose a social or economic boycott of any person or family or a group belonging to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. So if you threaten to include or threaten to impose the social or the economic boycott not only on the individual but on his family or a group of people belonging to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, that this act also comes under atrocity. Now, coming to what happened with the Vice Chancellor, see what is worrisome is the nexus of punishment and rewards given to the Vice Chancellor. See, at one point, there are rewards given to the Vice Chancellor, like an award for excellence in academic work despite the findings of plagiarism, and also award for excellence in institution building. But what is more worrisome is the decertification of a victim. So the decertification of a victim, let's in this case Rohit Vermala. So this, what does it do is that it reduces or frees the Vice Chancellor. It's freeing the Vice Chancellor from the criminal proceedings. So thus making him more free regarding the criminal proceedings. So what is needed is the justice to the victims of atrocities, and also the government should maintain the institutional dignity and the autonomy of the institutions. So that's it for today's editorial. If you found this editorial useful, please like and subscribe to my channel and also give me your feedback. Thank you.